promised you guys a video of how I've been painting my cabinets. You can see behind. They used to be a dark cherry stain over walnut, and I wanted to lighten them up. So I used a color, it's a Benmore color called Sonora Gray, but I mixed it in Sherwin-Williams. And actually I've learned what happens with Sherwin-Williams is it ends up being a shade lighter than the color you pick when they match it. Like they just mix it for the formulation. They don't mix it to color match. So when I said I want Sonora Gray, it comes up a shade lighter, which I knew and is what I wanted. Sonora Gray is actually a shade darker. But anyway, so the first thing I did is I washed my cabinets really well with a degreaser. This is what I had. It works. There's one called Simple Green. I think it's Simple Green. That one works really well. It doesn't leave like a sticky residue or anything behind. 409, I used it pretty strong, and then I actually rinsed it twice, and then when it's wet, I take a 150 grit sandpaper and just lightly sand it. You don't want to do it hard because it'll gouge it, but that helps get the finish off and any residue. So first step, wash it. Second step is I removed my drawer fronts. See, there's a drawer front. And all of my cabinet doors. I suggest doing it. It's a pain, but you know what? It saves you time in the long run. So just do it. Just suck it up and do it. And then that way you don't get paint on your hinges, which is truly a pain because down the road they won't work as well. So this is the last one I have to do. I've primed the others, and I'll show you what I do. When they are cabinet doors, if you see there's a 5 in there, that is the door number. People say put painter's tape on it. I don't like to do painter's tape because you know what? If I'm flipping front to back, I'm constantly moving the tape. It gets stuck or I have to tape it on the table or whatever. This way, I just write it on. This one didn't have that, but I put a little B so that I knew that there's one other drawer this size, and that one I didn't need to label, but this one I knew I wanted on the bottom, so I put a B for bottom. And then this is what I'm going to do now. See these bumpers? I'm going to take that off. Use a blade for that. Hopefully I can do this without cutting myself. So just take that off. Usually you can get it down to there we go, that got it. Get all the adhesive off. This is how I normally would do it. All right. So take that off, and then I wash them again off of the cabinets. I wash them really, really well with just the plain water this time, but that gets off any of the sanding gook. If the adhesive's still there, you know, wash that off too. But anyway, so I'm going to show you, first step is use a nice bonding primer. This one's Valspar. I like Sherwin-Williams also, so you can try that one as well. But I've been happy with this one. It's a little thick. That says not too thin, but I added water and nothing happened. So, because I tend to leave my paint cans open, I work out of the can. And then here's the paint. It's a Sherwin-Williams, was it urethane trim enamel? It is a latex base. The only way that you're truly gonna get a painted finish without lines or marks is to spray it. I do have a sprayer. I've not used it yet. Don't have a place to use it right now. But that's truly the only way you're gonna get a sprayed look because it's sprayed. But this is a pretty good finish. It's smooth. The key ingredient, you add Floetrol. I do this anytime I'm doing trim. This is just a paint extender. It helps minimize lines, and it just gives you a little bit more work time. But I did find when I was working on the cabinets up there that the lights were drying them, and it was like that 70-degree day that we had, and so I have a few paint lines up there, brush marks up there that kind of annoy me, but whatever. So that's that. So first step, oops, I didn't bring my opener. Let me use this. Okay, so I didn't have that open and my husband came up, so I edited this part. But anyway, so use the interior primer. This has been sanded, this has been washed, and it's ready to go. So the process you do this is a nasty brush. You can see it's really gross. If I use this to paint trim, it's gonna leave lines because it's just all frayed and stuff. For this, it's okay because I'm just using it to put the paint on, and then I'm gonna use this, which is a microfiber roller. I have another one that I like that's a little longer than this called a velour roller, but it's wet right now. This has to be done with a dry process, so I'm gonna use this one, especially it's the back of the drawer, so I don't care. Alrighty. And then this is what we use for the cabinets, but I'll get to that part later. This is a foam brush that I get at Walmart also. Alright, so we are going to, and note I covered up the bead. I'm just gonna have to put that back on. Alright. Okay, so I didn't put it on neatly. See, you can see that. It's not very neat at all. But the key is this. This like pulls it off and smushes your lines. The only problem with this is you're gonna need 3 or 4 of these rollers because once it gets a lot of paint on it, then it really starts to leave the orange peel look. And in fact, this one's giving it more of a rolled look, which is not what I want. Like I said, if you look for a velour one, they're a little bit nappier. They have like a long fiber, so they'll work better. Oh, and actually my bee's still showing, so that's okay. All right, so see, it's a lot smoother than it was. So I'm gonna, oops, touch up the edges because I went over a bit. All right, I'm gonna move this one out of the way. And I just got my sleeve, isn't that lovely? All right, so put this out of the way. And I'm gonna take this that has the Floetrol added. I'll do a little one. So this is when it's dried. See how it has that brushy look, but it really, when it's all done, it's fine. So, and this is my trick. Best sandpaper ever for fine sanding. I would say it's better than 220 grit, which is what the finest you're gonna find a lot of places. You can find 400 some places, but mostly just online. So white lunch bags. Brown if you're doing a dark color, white if you're doing a light color. So just take my lunch bag, lightly. You don't want to make marks from this because I actually sanded a little hard on a couple of them, and I have took the primer off. So just lightly sand it. And I actually sanded this one before, so I'm gonna cheat. All right, wipe it off. Maybe you can hear Kevin cutting the grass. Can you believe it? April 1st, and we're cutting the grass. But it'd be better than having this pandemic and being in snow, because that would really suck. Alright, so this one, I've already shaken it, stirred it, whatever. Different brush. I like these. These I get at Walmart. They're inexpensive, but they're decent brushes. They're probably $2 less than the better at Lowe's, and I find I can get more use out of them. But this is the best quality from Walmart. All right, see, same thing. Brush it on. And one thing you want to try to do, because this is a door front, you want to go with the grain. Always sand with the grain, always paint with the grain. Now I'm going across here, but I'm gonna finish with it going with the grain. get it in the corners. And I actually am rushing this process. Honestly, I like to do one coat per day, truthfully. Or at the very least, I'll paint one in the morning and then do another coat at night. Just because I want time in between for it to dry. But I'm rushing this not only for the video, but Neil's getting a little antsy and wants to go to the lake. We had a mishap there. Had a pipe that had a pinhole, tiny, tiny hole, was losing 4 gallons per minute of water. And who knows how long it was going. I guess we'll find out when we get our water bill how long it was going. But anyway, so he's anxious. We're going to go spend some time at the lake during this pandemic. I guess we're lucky to have that option. So same thing. I'm going to use the same brush. You shouldn't, you know, again, it's white, so. But just lightly, lightly, lightly. And what this is going to do is smooth out the paint lines. I actually didn't do this too well, but what I do one coat of primer, sometimes 2. I did 2 on the cabinet faces or shelves, boxes, whatever that I will show you. I did 2 on there, and I end up doing 2 or 3 coats on the door fronts. I do 2 on the backs, 2 or 3 on the fronts, depending on how they look. All right, that's not too bad. So there's that one. And I'm gonna put this one aside. And then hopefully you can see, put this down, hopefully you can see, let's see if I can get it closer, that they're really, I mean, it's smooth. It's really, 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 really smooth. Now this one has, let me think, this one has 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of paint on it. And I'll probably, this is a back, so I'll probably just call this one done. But on the flip side, I'll do 3. And then the final thing, I'm gonna show you a trick because this one's dry. The final thing, I think I don't do this professionally, right? Although at this point maybe I should, because then I wouldn't be broke because I can't drive my limos right now. Anyway, so with your paper bags, the last coat I burnish. I mean, I like really, once it's been dry for over 24 hours, I just sand and sand and sand and rub and rub and rub and rub and rub. And what this does, it gives you a finish that it's almost, it's not a gloss, but it's a sheen. It's a sheen that you might get with that factory clear coat spray. So it just gives it, getting tongue-tied here because I'm trying to hurry because my videos always end up too long. I don't like glossy finishes. Another way you could get, oh, I just touched my face, oh my gosh. I'm not germy. I've been in the house for almost 4 weeks now. Anyway, the only ways that I know that you can get the factory finish is with an oil enamel or spray. But I found that if I do this and then burnish it at the very end, you'll get that glossy, not really glossy, the satiny look that they have. Without doing that, they end up looking a little dull. So you just take this and you really, I really, like, it's gonna be noisy. I like really, really sand the bejesus out of this. And all it was not supposed to, you know, go all the way. You see, you can actually kind of see, look. See how it's getting shiny right here? It gives it just a brightness to it. It'll reflect the light a little bit. Oh, that's what I didn't mention. It'll reflect the light a little bit and just give it almost some dimension. Let's see if we can, there, see how it's shiny right there? Right there. That's what your lights are gonna do. It's gonna give it a sheen. So, the other thing, I'm gonna jump over and show you what I do when I do the cabinet faces, because it's a little bit different because this is too big to use over there. So I'm gonna jump over and just show you how I use the sponge brush, right? So same thing, put it on with your brush, carefully. You don't wanna like be too crazy with it, but you can be a little bit messy. Couple things, the thicker you put your paint on, the more likely you're to have brush strokes. So this one, I have primed it twice with primer and sanded it between each coat with the paper bags. If you take anything away from that, that is gonna be a super tip. All right, let's see. And something to know with cabinets is always follow the line of the cabinet. If you look at it, it'll show you like this is one box and this is one box. Actually false, this is one box here. But so I have a vertical here, and then down here you'll see, oh, you can't see down there. Here, you're gonna have a horizontal seam right here. So you wanna go down your verticals and make sure your horizontals start and end, and then this will be all the way down. All right, I am going to brush some of this off to show you, because it's getting drippy. All right, so here's where you can take your sponge brush, and you, same thing, you run it along, smooth. See, there's a little bit of paint there. You're taking it off, in a sense. And see how I'm flipping it each time? This is really good when you have, like, in between here. See how it fits in there? Or here. If you can fit your roller's gonna be the best bet. All right, and you don't wanna do it hard. You just wanna do it, like, barely touching it. This one's gonna be a mess. I'm gonna have to fix it after the video, but that's okay. But so it's the same process. You just wanna make sure you follow the lines of your cabinet. All right. And obviously have better lighting. My lighting's not real good here, but anyway, that is what you do. What kind of paint? I told you the urethane enamel. Mine's in satin. I would not go any glossier than that. What happens when you use a gloss, semi-gloss, any finish like that? A couple things happen. If your finish is not perfect in any way, shape, or form, if it's lumpy, bumpy, gouged, I mean, my walls, my 3 boys, we have dings in the wall. 2 dogs, we have dings in the wall. If you use a gloss finish or a semi-gloss finish, it will show every imperfection you have. So I always use a washable flat on my walls. I don't even matte sometimes, but it just, as long as it's a washable paint, it's fine. And if it's not a washable paint, just use a cheap flat paint, like ceilings, whatnot, cheap flat paint. Because your light is going to be reflected on any glossy surface. So if there's an imperfection, a dent or whatnot, it will show. The other thing that glossy surfaces do is they actually change the color. So you could spend hours upon hours upon hours picking out your paint color, but if you don't get the right sheen, then your paint color will change. If it's, like, say it's in your basement and it's a glossy finish, all of your light is going to bounce off of that and it's going to change the color, usually lighter. And sometimes it just gets this glare that's almost irritating. So if I can get you, I wouldn't go any higher than satin. And in fact, Lowe's, I don't do satin. Lowe's, I do matte or flat, just because their satin is very, very shiny. Now this is Sherwin-Williams, it's a satin, but that's like their, I think, 2nd or 3rd level up in this. And it's a good durable, you know, this is good for cabinets. This is good for your bathroom cabinets, doors, things like that. But if it's on your walls, stick with a matte or a flat. Otherwise, you're going to spend all that time picking out your color and not like it. So that's pretty much all you need to paint your kitchen cabinets. Couple things to remember. First coat will determine your final coat. So if you don't prep, if you don't clean your cabinets, if you don't sand, if you skimp, if you put it on too heavy, anything that is shown on your first coat will show on your last coat. So just take your time. It'll be worth it. You know, it's taken me a couple weeks now to get all this done. A couple of other things. Quality of paint does make a difference, especially with your cabinets. Oh, your cabinets will not be fully cured for at least a month. So even though the paint will feel dry, it won't be fully hard cured for at least a month. So keep that in mind. Anything you gouge, or if you put your hardware on and you tighten it too tight, that'll make dings. Which, I mean, mine, honestly, I took it off the factory finish, and it showed the indentation. So, I mean, it is what it is. But keep that in mind that it will not be fully cured for a month. What else? What else? I mean, it makes a difference. Hey, you can see behind me, have something special planned for the pantry back there. That's going to be cool. I think that's it. Just have fun with it. You can do this. I know a couple of friends of mine have mentioned about me painting theirs, and we'll talk. I have a problem with charging people what I should when they're friends, so we'll see. Anyway, I hope you will try this. If not, maybe it'll spur me to do more videos. To my friend KK, we are heading to the lake probably tomorrow, so hopefully I will have that late switch video for you then. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day. Try something new, try something fun. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face, wash your hands. Stay healthy. Love y'all. See ya.